Why does the black man serve the white man? Why does everything the black man do benefit the white man? Why does the black man say freedom is doing what I want to do? And why is it that everything he wants to do enriches the European?
Welcome to the desert of the real.
Peace, everybody. This your brother, Mr. Holipsism, coming to you on this fine Sunday afternoon by myself for now. So, and I will say this, that if I am by myself, this is going to be a very short live stream because I'm not going to sit on here and try to freestyle for an hour. Anyway, the topic of the topic of the freestyle. Look at me. The topic of the live stream is the cost of citizenship, Black America's cycle of humiliation. You might ask, well, what is that about? Well, let me read it to you. Go a little further. How much more humiliation must Black Americans endure for equality in a system rigged to deny it? This live stream breaks down the unending cycle of systemic racism, police violence, voter suppression, public racial aggression, and challenges the cost of begging for fairness in a country built on anti-Blackness. From Jim Crow to modern day redlining, we ask, when does fighting for a seat at the table become complicity? Is liberation possible within America's borders? Or is the only logical path forward land, sovereignty, power, and embracing our nation state of Liberia beyond this broken system? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Well, let's talk about it. Since nobody is joining me, I'm going to give my thoughts. That's why I'm saying this might be a short live. What inspired this live stream was this situation with the lady who, in the playground, referred to a black child as a N-word. I don't know if they even allow me to say the word on here. But what made me focus on it, because I usually don't focus on these current events, black outrage of the day stories. But what I found interesting was how this lady was able to raise $700,000, over $700,000. And at first they were saying that she wasn't going to get it, but apparently the CEO or CFO of the company that she did it from is on her side. So they're saying that she got the money. And I just find that interesting that you have all of these cases where there's incentives to disrespecting or outright killing black folks. It's like, remember, what's his name? The Michael Brown case. And, they sort of like melt into each other. So forgive me if I don't have the details. But the cop who killed him started a GoFundMe, or either somebody started it for him, or I don't know who started it. But the GoFundMe got over $1 million. So he's no longer a cop, but he was able to retire with the $1 million that he got off the GoFundMe. Probably more money than he was ever going to see as a cop. So what's the incentive for the next cop to not kill a black person? If you could kill a black person, not go to jail, and actually have enough money to retire with. $1 million. And you don't ever have to worry about any retribution. You can eat your cornflakes in the morning. You can go to sleep at night knowing that nobody is going to do a damn thing about it. Nobody's going to touch you. So what's the incentive to not do it to another black person? And the more important question is, what are we going to do about it? Because from what I can tell, the only thing that we're going to do is cry and bitch and moan and complain or talk about white supremacy and racism and pat ourselves on the back because we're able to break down this white supremacist system. And you see, that's what happens to us. How are you not getting tired of this? I mean, god damn. Is is it gonna put, what is the point? What is the limit where this stuff ceases to be entertaining anymore? And it's not, and I'm not talking about the white people doing what they do. I'm talking about us talking about it. How many more conversations do we need to have? How much deep analysis do we have to give about white supremacy and racism before we actually do something about it? And does anybody even know what doing something about it means at this point? I'm really serious because I don't listen to these black talking heads, so I don't know what they're telling the people. But what are they telling you? What are they saying is the solution to this problem? Because all I keep hearing is the analyzing. I keep hearing the breaking down. I keep hearing the decoding. Everybody is brilliant when it comes to articulating the foot in their ass, but nobody seems to be talking about the solution. Nobody seems to be coming up with the stuff that we've presented. And we're not even do it right here, people. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's coming up with any solutions to say, or one thing that we can do and accomplish that we could put a W in the win column, put a W on the scoreboard. I gave my suggestion. My suggestion is the number one thing on the docket for Black America, the number one priority for Black America is consolidating resources. And the best way to do that, pick a bank and pour our funds into that bank, take our money out of white banks and put it into our own banks. That should be number one on everybody's lips. I can't think of a more, I won't say easy, but I mean, I can't think of another word. Like, what is difficult about that? What is difficult about it? Taking your money out of the black, or as a matter of fact, we even loosen it up. You ain't even got to take all your money out the white bank. Open up a black bank account and put $30 a month in it. That's $1 a day. Until you get comfortable when you know, because we know the white man's water is wetter, his ice is colder, and all of that. You know, we see our banks as second class and third class banks who really we shouldn't even be supporting because they're not good as the white man's bank. So I'm not asking for a lot at all. $30 a month, which is $1 a day. We have approximately 50 million black people here in America. And I've done the math with the TikTok video. You know, if we were to support our black bank, they would have at the very least, just by accounts alone, $18 billion a year. And that's just savings. That's just accounts with people putting their money in a bank. We're not even talking about investments and ways to increase the total assets of the bank. We're not talking about real estate. We're not talking about any of that. We're just talking about taking our money, a portion of our money out of white banks and putting it in support of the black bank, creating a narrative that we actually have a black bank, that people know about it. Because there are some celebrities that try to shed light on it, but you know, they mostly like B and C level celebrities. They don't really get a whole wide range or wide reach. None of the major celebrities have really endorsed it. So I'm just wondering, like, what is the limit? What is the limit to the amount of humiliation that black folks will suffer here in America? You had a white woman who was comfortable enough to use the N-word out of her mouth, doubled down on it, and made money using it. You got people supporting her. Although they had to stop the comments on the crowdfunding program that she used because it was so many racists coming out saying, "Yeah, fuck that nigger." You know? I see you, Chef. Chef, why don't you join me? Why doesn't somebody join me? I don't want to. I hate having to talk by myself, man. I I am not Lester Jenkins. I do not like the sound of my own voice. I like to hear other people talk. So would somebody come on with me so I can have a conversation? Somebody? Anybody? Let me put the link. Let me put the call in link. Because really, my thing, the question is, what is the limit? What's the amount of humiliation before black folks decide, you know what? Maybe we better do something. What's the limit? If you can't get on, you can put the answer in the chat room. What do you think the limit is? Or is there no limit? Anybody? Oh, my brother. Peace. You got Ronin in the house.
Hey, hold up.
Yeah,
You hear me?
I hear you. What's up? How you
Oh,
doing?
hey. I'm all right, man. I'm
Ooh.
all right.
So what's your take on this? Like what is the limit of humiliation that black folks have to suffer before they decide to do something about white supremacy and racism and discrimination and prejudice?
I don't, to be honest, with Black folks in America, I don't think they have a limit because I think they're dedicated to trying to change whatever this is, and I don't think it's possible. I think
Mm,
you have like a small group of Black folks, like the BAIO and maybe some other Pan-Africanist individuals and stuff like that. I don't
hmm
think there's a limit. If you listen, like sometimes I call you when I'm in a car from driving home from work, I'm listening to like Urban View. And it's a lot of Black Power American talk, to integrations talk, stuff like that. And then, they'll have these moments where they seem like they're on the same page with us and you hear, it's like when a car has to get off an exit, but they're in a
hmm
fast lane, they cut across 3 lanes of traffic. They just go do that. They just veer completely to the right.
mm.
And then it's like, oh, well, we got to get out there and vote and blah, 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 do this and that. And we got to do allies or stuff like this, or some of the nonsense like that. And it's
Oh, so in other
tiresome.
words, the same shit they've been talking about for the last 60 years.
Yeah, they only reach the point, I guess, where we are is if something egregious happens to them and then they're angry.
hmm
And then once the anger cools off, they go right back to default mode. Like, oh, we got to do something about white supremacist ideology, blah, blah, so this, or people got a battery in their back because Donald Trump's the president. That shouldn't be. If that's what's making you be like this now, then you're ignoring everything that came before.
mm.
Um,
Apparently,
you
all
know,
of our energy seems to be focused on P. Diddy.
oh, Jesus.
That's all I'm seeing on my timeline is P Diddy this, P Diddy that. Jay-Z said this at this, and a whole bunch of lying too. So there's one rumor that they played a Prince audio at the court, which wasn't even true. It's like people are just making up shit to talk about that is irrelevant and stupid.
I- you know, some of these topics, man, like P Diddy. I saw recently there was something about with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark and stuff like that.
Mm.
With P Diddy, and, and the same thing. I know there was people caping for R. Kelly and stuff like that. All the systems getting to him when a black man's got power and all this other bullshit. They do this and that. If these individuals had real power, they wouldn't be in court.
Right.
He never would have got arrested. If you look at like traditional, some of the old white families, who have power, like the Rockefellers, stuff like that, they've gotten away with tons of stuff. They've never been dragged into court. They've never been arrested. None of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and then you want to prop people up like P. Diddy or someone like R. Kelly. I'm just using examples. Like, you just had Malcolm X's birthday pass, and they're not talking about that. Talking about P. Diddy.
Mm.
Silly. It's ridiculous.
Yo, what's up, Chef?
Greetings. How we doing, brothers?
Doing good, doing good. Hanging in there.
So, Chef Rob,
How you doing, brother?
I'm good.
Just what you just said, brother Ron. Black folks keep talking about P. Diddy. I don't get that a lot of our people keep chasing fantasy and bullshit, and it's not putting any money in your pocket, not helping lower the prices of gas, eggs, whatever. But you keep following these people, and you don't realize that's a distraction. So you don't be talking about real shit, and it's hard to go ahead and explain that to people, man.
Agreed. Remember, I said one time, Paulo, I said this a long time ago, like one of the first times we like spoke behind the scenes, or maybe the first time I was on live stream with you. I was like, and I keep saying the same thing. I was like, if you look at a specific nation state right now, which is laying waste to Palestine, so it took them 12 years from 1933 to 1945 in World War II of just suffering horrendous acts of what you call genocide, and they got a
Mm.
nation state out of it, and they're flexing their muscles wrongly, committing genocide, and no one has only a few individuals have a problem with it. Yet you got black folks who've been in this country. Next year will be 500 years. Black folks got brought here in 1526 by the Spaniards. In those 499 years, black folks have gotten Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, some streets here and there named, and Juneteenth. That's it.
No,
You know,
you missed one.
the presidency.
No, go ahead and go back and look up how Memorial Day started.
Oh, all right, that too. I'm sorry. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, and white
And
folks took that over, and you wouldn't understand that. Hey, that it started out with black folks. Biggest thing is that they got to flip everything over. It's just a way to go here and wipe out your history. I've been doing this cooking thing for a long time. And when I was in culinary school, one of the things that really used to tick me off was that you go through the books and all that shit, and go through all of the cookbooks, all the books, all the shit they give you, and you go ahead and you see Italian, German, French, a lot of shit French. You see some Chinese, some Mexican, but you never see a goddamn thing that's going in talking about me and how I got here and the diet that my people had. They wiping out your history, and they doing it, and you're doing every fucking aspect of this. But they wipe out a lot of our history dealing with the foods. Fried chicken started in Africa. A lot of people don't know.
And it's our fault.
Yeah.
If you don't respect your own culture and you don't want to teach your children who they are, why would you expect someone else to do it?
Malcolm X
I tell
said it,
people
right?
this. I tell people this all the time. I'll go to Chinatown in the city because Mac used to play basketball out there. We would go to Chinatown. If you go to a public school in Chinatown, you would think it was a Chinese school. and this is public school.
Yeah, a lot
But
of
when
shit
you
is
step in there, it looks straight up like a just an indigenous native Chinese school. There's nothing American in there.
Yeah, everything's in
Everybody
Chinese.
else gets it but us.
Yeah, because you've been taught that you don't have no history, and whatever history you know about it, the white man gave it to you, and it also goes back to another thing where it's talking about, well, you see it, our history started with slavery. What an idiot.
Yeah.
Black folks
That's
don't in
why it's
America
so
don't believe in self-preservation, man. They really don't.
yeah. So apparently there is no limit to the amount of humiliation that we'll accept just to be called Americans. There's no limit. It's like a
There's no
cheat
limit.
code. It's a cheat code on a video game.
Yeah.
You know how many arguments I've had with people? Like, um, when I started, for years, I've been trying to create my own little combo company and stuff like that. So I remember one time I was talking to a couple of people I didn't know, and it was like, so for how you do this, you're gonna have it's gonna be very diverse and stuff like that. I'm like, if my company, I want to hire young black writers. If I can get it going the way I want to, I want to bring in young black writers and artists. But what about other groups? Let me ask you a question, man. Let me ask any of y'all a question. I was like, when y'all go to a restaurant, y'all go to a Chinese restaurant or a strictly a traditional Italian restaurant, you go to a Chinese restaurant, a sit down restaurant like the Cottage. I think I've been to that place. I think it's like the Village, something like that. You go in there, the maitre d is Chinese, the hostess, the waiters, the cooks, all the people in there, the cat, they're all Chinese, and no one. I don't have a problem with that, none whatsoever. But yet, I can go to a soul food restaurant, and then there'll be one or two. You can hear the conversations like, "Oh, they need more diversity here." Why? 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 I don't hear anyone saying that. No one else says that except black folks. You always trying to drag people into your struggle or whatever what you call a struggle, and they don't have. It's a completely different paradigm.
Yeah,
The
bro.
same thing when you hear it with Latino. What's going on with Latino? Yo, that shit is terrible. I'm not gonna sit here and deny it. It's terrible. But if you think you're gonna get what you want and bring in other groups while you're here in America and think you're going to get what you want, it's not going to happen because they have a different goal. Whatever is important to them, they're going to get that. They're going to piggyback off of you, take what they need, or learn what they need from you, and discard everything else, get what they want, and leave you and hang you out to dry until they get in trouble again, and then they come back to you begging for your help. Black folks haven't learned that lesson, and there's nothing wrong with being a self-contained unit to take care of what's going on in your environment. After that's all solidified, you want to have some type of business alliance with other ethnic groups. All right, that's fine. But that ain't in America. It's free agency. Whoever's paying the most, that's what team. A lot of people are gonna play for that team.
Yo,
You know what,
you
That's why
bro?
you
asked
got
a
all.
question. You asked a question, Ronan, and I wish that I had my soundboard again because the perfect sound to put in there to answer that question that you asked about why do they want us to be diverse, but they accept everybody else being, who they are. I would play that clip from Penitentiary with what's his name, half dead, trying to fuck, the dude in the cell. That's what I would play because that's really what it's about. I'm gonna bust you, sissy. You my stuff. That's what it's. That's what it's all about. They think that we they stuff, and we don't seem to have a problem with that. Like the vast majority of us really don't have a problem being the white man's stuff.
It's tiring.
No problem whatsoever. They are very comfortable.
Hey, brother Ron, let me show you something else real quick. I'm in the food industry, so a lot of times it's meals I want to make. I got to go to certain stores, right? And so if it's something, and even a lot of Caribbean products are in the Mexican stores. You know, that blew my mind. You got a couple of stores here where they go ahead and sell like African and Caribbean products. But when I walk into these stores, like the Mexican store and the Asian store, I don't see no black people working in them stores either. I don't see no black folks going ahead and stocking the shelves. Not at all. I go ahead and I'll see, like there's a, check this out. There's a couple of soul food restaurants here I go to. They got Mexicans working in there. I don't get it. I understand that thing with me about the, you know, our people are the ones going ahead and talking about I don't see color kind of shit. I just had an argument with an individual who calls himself a pastor. We're supposed to be doing business, and he's talking nonsense. Too many of our people go ahead and accept that. They accept that. They think that's the way it is. We're supposed to go ahead and carry up with the side up with these people, protect these people, and it's crazy. Look how many black folks go ahead and be in the street. Now I don't want nobody to get this misconstrued because like some of my family, my father's family comes from the Caribbean. Okay. But I see a lot of black folks in the street, like these protests here about immigration and shit. Like, nigga, get your ass out there and go ahead and talk about the fucking cops going ahead and kicking in your neighbor's house and bringing them outside, beating the shit out of them, only go ahead and say, oh, we got the wrong house. You know, the injustice there, you know, the lack of opportunities that the city gets. There's not a lot of business opportunities. You got to go ahead and know somebody to get a government contract, you know, all that bullshit. But you still come back to that thing is, hey, I don't see color. They ain't doing nothing to me, you know. And I think I brought this up before, where it says, I call him a dumb bastard because he's trying to tell me that the injustices, you know, the civil rights march and buck breaking, all the lynchings, even slavery, we need to forget about that. That happened way back when. So we need to forget about that and go forward. How the hell can you determine your future if you don't know your past? And you got to know your past to go ahead and determine the decisions you make for today. And that's something that I need to see get picked up on. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I agree. I agree. You know, Rob, man, when I talk to people, and I talked to Howard about this, I've said this before, you know, is that if you look at Howard, you, me, Emoja, Kyle, Jabari, all the different people within BIO, and, you know, and people, I'll play clips for them, like, oh, man, you know, it's so tight, oh, it's so deep and stuff like that. How you? I'm like, how do you get? I was like, we were created. This environment made us like this. Just like it created Malcolm, just like it created the Nation of Islam, Frantz Fanon, John Henry Clark, and so this environment created it. Is because you get to a point where it's enough. Enough is enough. And I've said this before, and Holland knows this, man. Like, I lost my parents in 2020 through the pandemic. That was the end. Like, I have been being passively objective because I was out of respect to my mom. The way it went down, my mom didn't have to die like that. My father didn't have to die like that. That was the end, the complete end. I'm like, that's it. It's over. There's no forgiveness. I'm not giving no second. I'm not doing any of that. I've sat here. I'm 56 years old. I'm having the same discussions with my daughter that I had with my parents. And then I'm looking at probably me, you and Hopper, all around the same age. Our parents lived through Jim Crow segregation. Aunts, uncles, great grandparents, great grandparents dealt with all of that. And I'm listening to Negroes get on TV shows, on MSNBC or CNN or SiriusXM radio, coming up with these ridiculous cockamamie ideas. We need to be this and a moral center of America. How can you be the moral center for a country that has no morals? How can you be a moral center for a segment of individuals who have no morals, who, no matter what, who've been at war with themselves? England's got issues with, they used to go against France and Germany, European expansionism. And then they spread that to Africa. And they went to Asia and went all different places and put their morality and try to infuse that on these places. So how are you going to be a moral center for a group of people that have no morals? And it's clear and evident right now when you got a man who's as dumb as the day is long, who says some of the stupidest shit that's ever been known to man, If he was in a different era, he'd be in a mental institution because if he's talking, he's lying. But somehow you're trying to find the gold at the end of the rainbow when the rainbow is melting right in front of you. And for me, I'm really tired of black folks and this and that. People send me videos of Umar Johnson and this and that. He has nothing to teach me, nothing. Or this person or that person. They're lacking in behind. Then you got another segment of Negroes out there running around pretending to be Native Americans. They're talking about being FBA, whatever the hell that is. What are you talking about here? And then they got heat for Holla. They got heat for Jabari. They got heat for Emoji. They got heat for anyone in the BAIO. And yet here you are standing in the corner looking like a goddamn fool, believing in fairy tales. And fairy tales, when they were first written, were nightmares, horror stories. You in a horror story, and evidently Latinos they ain't listen to black folks, and now they catching hell because they didn't listen. And black folks don't listen to other black folks. They just can't do the same old dumb shit. I'm not gonna announce Malcolm X's birthday. I'm gonna talk about P. Diddy because I'm gonna talk about Bill Cosby or whatever, some other bullshit like that. How many times you gotta get punched in the face before you put your goddamn guard up to make it stop? Just once, put your guard up. This is all you gotta do. Put your guard up just one time. Take a trip outside the country. Go somewhere else to get away from this goddamn open air mental asylum and see how much better you will feel. Because I felt it when I went, on my honeymoon. I was in Mexico. I felt a lightness that I never felt before being away from here. When I went to Trinidad last year for 10 days, I even felt more. I didn't even want to come. I'm like, why the hell am I going back? I should just have my car shipped down here and just stay here.
Yeah, that's the reason. Now you know the reason why I wanted you to get out of here. I knew exactly how it would feel for you. And I don't know whether you noticed, but there was one Negro. I think his name is PanAfricanism, is fat or something like that. He
the Care Bear.
Yeah, he said that if the white man is serving butter biscuits, then we need to just eat the butter biscuits.
Oh, jeez.
That was his solution.
Hold on. That shit sound crazy as fuck. Man, you almost made me fuck up. Look here. It's like this. The white man, oh God, I don't even know how to fuck this. This dude just said, hey, look, we need to eat the butter biscuits. Yeah. Okay, so it's just so much shit wrong with that. Okay, so he made the butter biscuit. He made it look good on the outside, but he could have went outside and go ahead and grab some cow manure and go ahead and doctor it up. And then I could go on about that, but the biggest problem I got with this is here, why you ain't try to make your own goddamn butter biscuit? Stupid ass.
That's why they call them Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism is fat. I think that's the name, the screen name.
That's the dude, Pan-Africanism Strikes Back or whatever the hell his name is.
Strikes Back.
Got fat. That's what it is.
It's Pan.
Your audio is messing up, Jabari.
Hey, and back to that, whatever. I want to keep it clean. To that person who said what he said. Okay, so he didn't. I don't know if you guys remember a few years ago. It was kind of low key. And one of the brothers, I think he was part of the Black Uhuru, or it's a Pan-African group that's been around for a long time. And the feds, the DEA, all the alphabet soup raided this little bitty house for a couple of people coming out there in full everything, like they just straight going to war against the Taliban. And I was looking at all that firepower for this old man who's almost 80 years old. Are you serious?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You talking about the African Socialist Party?
Yeah.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
That shit was crazy as hell to me. I'm like,
they accuse them. They accuse them of supporting Russia.
Yeah. Oh, but they ain't talking about these white boys, these right wingers who go ahead and straight collecting, $500,000 and $600,000, a month to go ahead and push propaganda. But it's just one of those things where our people are exposed to stuff, but they're quick to deny it. Oh no, that's not happening. Yeah, it's not happening until it happen to your ass. Oh, the police ain't beating nobody up. They doing their job. Yeah, you'll say something differently when them fucking shit hitting you in the goddamn head, dumbass.
Yo, Chef.
Yes, sir.
Just to change the subject momentarily, like, what are you making over there?
Oh, hey, fuck! I thought I was talking to myself. Hey, it's not. I don't really have a name. You know, I sauteed some spinach and lots of garlic, lots of onion. Then I put in a little okra. So what I did was I minced up some shrimp. I threw it in there. Right now, I'm trying to fix up this chicken breast. I also made seasoned basmati rice. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
See,
sorry.
you're making a full meal.
Yeah.
You got the side dish, the rice, the protein.
Yeah,
delicious.
Then I got my ginger turmeric tea right here with a little cinnamon, so clean out my system because I plan to do something later.
Nice. One day I'm going to try your cooking. One day.
Oh no, I've been thinking about that, brother. I've been thinking about because like I told you, I was trying to go ahead and see what members of the BAI want to go ahead and have a meeting. Hey, I'm gonna have to bring some of you people here, including yourself, and so we can sit and have a meal and go ahead and record that meal and talk about just how stupid some of our people are.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah, and I got a few things going on, but I'm talking here real soon. Real soon.
Cool,
Hopefully no more than 2 months from now, but real soon.
Well, I want to give we have Grace by a representative of the Tether Nation. Welcome,
Peace and tetherings to everybody.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello. I was like taken by the recipe that he had. I think it was like Chef Rob. You said you making turmeric tea?
Yeah, man. It's just I got like ground turmeric, and then I'm using
Okay.
not a ground stuff, but I know the fresh is better, but shit, I got this.
Okay. Because I was trying to come up with like a way to use, because I have a cold presser, and I try to use it to like press the ginger root and make like a pure juice out of it and do ginger shots.
Oh.
But I'm trying to I know I have like the formula for the ginger, but I don't have a formula for like the turmeric.
No, I don't have a formula. I just throw something in there. That was it.
Okay.
That was it. So, but I know that it's pretty decent for your body. So I got to try to put those things in my
Probably
system.
got to go to a white neighborhood grocery store to find some turmeric.
Yeah, I know, man. That's messed up, ain't it? But here, close to where I live, it's a black-owned grocery store coming. And it ain't no little bitty smelly fucking place that's similar to the Arab shit. No, this is a nice big store. It's called 40 Acres and a Mule, and it's on the street where I was once renting a restaurant. So I know some of the people on that street. So that place over there is gonna be pretty decent. And once say it again.
I would say I'm in. If you're in prime location in some urban area, you can probably find like some kind of grocery that has it.
Let me show you one even better. You ain't got to even fucking go to these people. Go to the goddamn wholesalers, grab you some fruits and vegetables, and sell out in your fucking front yard and go ahead and sell them. That's it. Put them in the trunk of your car, ride around and sell that. That's what a lot of fucking people doing. Innovation here, people.
They do that with the watermelons here.
Exactly.
Yeah, they were like U-Haul trucks.
Yeah. Do the same thing. But you ain't seeing a lot of other people. You see some brothers coming up from like Mississippi and Alabama and stuff with the big watermelons. But who's going ahead and set up damn near makeshift a grocery store in their goddamn car? Not too many of our people. I can go ahead and show you some individuals who will come around and lift that trunk up or open that door to his garage, to his van and show you all the hair care products, all that shit coming from China. But you don't see too many people going ahead and dealing with food like that.
I mean, there's so many black people producing products. We can literally come up with our own version of Walmart.
Yes. 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 Yeah,
And
that was something else.
that way we can purchase those products in bulk and we can pay less per item.
But if you look at one time when our people who had stores, bank, Black Wall Street and all that other stuff, they did it. They had to do it. They had no other choice but to do it. Right now, the mindset of a lot of people is like, oh, I don't want to go ahead and I don't need to do all that because I can just go on down here to the grocery store. I asked them.
But also, I would say to add to your point, Hollis, that goes back to the whole point of this whole episode of the cost of citizenship. Because Black folks don't have a nation state here in America, we can't make it state industrial policy. We don't control the supply chain, the ability to construct new grocery stores in proximity to places. We have to go where we can hopefully find it and hope that there will be a Black person that has it. We don't have that luxury of state interference, state planning, uh, and state coordination. That doesn't exist for us. We don't get that luxury.
So true.
I agree. Black folks in America are so you have a segment of Black folks who want nothing. Well, this falls in ADOS to FBA, where they want nothing to do. Because I run into a couple of people at gatherings, with my wife, whatever, and one dude's talking to me. Someone's like, "Oh, yo, you gotta talk to his brother," stuff like that. And then I'm talking to him. I'm like, me and him are not even on the same, not even the same universe. What he's talking about, I'm not interested in. He's talking about some do it right here nonsense. And I was like, you don't want to have any type of cooperation with other people who look like you all over the globe. So you don't have, just like Gerard said, there's no power. Where's your power coming from? Because even now, I have ties to Trinidad because my wife's family's from Trinidad and stuff like that. And there's people who I met down there where, again, they want to reach out. Like they're asking me, like, because they pay attention, like, what's this whole ADOS thing? I'm like, you got to treat those people. They're nothing more than white supremacists and blackface. They're Klondike bars. Ignore them. Because they were like, we want to reach out and do business with Black folks in America. They're trying to do stuff. Actually, reaching out. They are in Trinidad, reaching out to the continent and other places like that. Black folks here in America, they're just clueless, man. Even that, just like you said before, man. Like you said, Robbie, like on Urban View, they're talking about this, and that, stuff like that. Yeah, we can't boycott. I'm like, you talking about Diddy, and you talking about LeBron or this person, that person. They got all this money. They could have built their own Target. Even that, you're not even supplying jobs for your own people. It's not even on the docket. You got all these wealthy entertainers and stuff like that, who are lead people. Oh, they're leaders. These are clowns, puppets. Come on, even that. If I had Elon Musk's money, I would be trying to bankroll as many Black folks and trying to form alliances across the medium, Africa, Black folks in Central and South America, anywhere where there's Black folks. I would try to be forming this one network, like this is what we need to do. And whoever doesn't want to be on board, fine. You can go do what you want to do. You can play militant integrationist, whatever, blah, 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 so and so. But there has to come a point where winning has to be the key. That has to be the focus. Because as a former athlete, I said it before. I played football. I've had games where I caught 10 passes for 110 yards and had 2 touchdowns. Ended up losing about 13 points. In another game, I had 1 catch for 4 yards. We ended up winning about 20 points. I'll take that every single time over stats because I don't care. I'm concerned about the win. That's what I'm concerned about. And Black folks should be focused on winning and not listening to misery music or other nonsense or joining on someone else's goddamn calls when you need to fix what's going on in your own house.
Let me ask you all a question. At his peak, wasn't P. Diddy a millionaire? I'm sorry, a billionaire?
Yep.
Yeah.
At his peak? So this nigga had $1 billion and he was not able to protect himself.
Like I said.
$1 billion, and he couldn't come up with a way to protect himself. That tells you all you need to know. That's
I
the ultimate do it right here.
I want to add to Ronan's point. Even if hypothetically Trinidadians wanted to reach out to us, because the fact that we don't control our own nation, we would still be subject to tariffs.
Yeah.
All Donald Trump would have to say is we're going to put a 25% tariff on Trinidad, products coming in from Trinidad, 20% tariff that comes from the AU. And we have to deal with the burden of having to pay those tariffs because we live under American jurisdiction. When you have your own nation, we could say to the U.S., oh, you want to put tariffs on our products, on Black American products? Okay, fine. We will be doing trading agreements with your main rivals. We're going to be strengthening ties within the continent. We have more leverage in how we can maneuver things at least. Whereas with America, we would be subject to tariffs. And then let's say we wanted to do research and development. A lot of research and development is government funded. Most of the breakthroughs that we have in biomedical, technology, innovation comes from the government and doesn't have an immediate return on investment. Because
it's not supposed to. It's not supposed to have an immediate return. It's supposed to be made at a loss because you're investing in like a infrastructure.
Right. You're operating at a loss, right? You're not having an immediate return on investment until maybe 5, 10, 20 years down the line. But because of the fact that we don't have a nation state, if we want to do research and development that, let's say, gears toward Black people, we see what the Trump administration is doing right now. They're not giving us the grants and the research. So we're stuck. That's the point. That's the thing that we're talking about, the cost of citizenship. Is, yes, you may have access to the American dollar and this stuff and yada, 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 but there's a lot of cost that comes with it. Meaning lack of sovereignty, lack of the ability to determine who your trading partners is, being subject to jurisdiction. This all comes with the citizenship. And if you're not willing to accept that, then you have to be willing to move on and part ways. But if you want to say you're do it right here, you want to stay here, that's fine. Deal with what comes with it.
Yeah, this is the point that I made multiple times. It's like I said, what if you wanted to do a trade deal with North Korea? Is North Korea going to ride its trucks down American highways? Are they going to sail their boats over to American seaports? You have absolutely no control. And like you said, all the United States is going to do is put a tariff on them. That's for those nation within a nation people. That lunacy. What nation within a nation where you don't even control the roads and the highways and the tolls? You don't control the airports or the seaports. You're landlocked. And your government is the United States government. It's not like you got some separate government inside of the U.S. It's like Ronin said, these people don't understand power.
Like the concept of power.
Yeah, they don't understand it.
That's all it. You got a whole bunch of
once you start getting into the nuts and bolts of what nation is, and Jabbar, we do have a nation state. We just don't acknowledge it. That's even worse. I can understand if we didn't have one. I can understand if we didn't have one. We have one. There's nothing standing in the way of us embracing it. Except ignorance and cowardice.
Yeah, you got too many people, like you said before, like with Diddy, with the money. And I said this before, is that you have Black folks who like the concept of power. They don't want to have it. They have money, but they think that their money is power. No. It's the old, you used to hear this shit all the time, man. Like, anyone can get touched. But you got individuals who have money who go around and doing specific things with it, normally buying people or bending people to their will to protect themselves so they can do their own, engage in their own little heinous behavior. They don't have to worry about the consequences of their actions. They don't care.
I can tell you
Diddy
this.
doesn't have the foresight. He doesn't have the foresight. He didn't have the foresight to see that,
I can
or
tell
any of
you
these other
this.
individuals.
This I can tell you. If I had $1 billion, the last thing on the pecking order is going to be a freak off party. Like that would not even come up on the list. $1 billion. Do you know what he could have done if somebody had bent his ear and said, "Yo, why are you messing around here in America? Why don't you go over to Liberia and set up shop?"
Mm-mm.
Nobody's in these people's ear giving them anything, but they can tell you how to get baby oil though. He had a baby oil consultant, but he have no nationhood consultant.
I wish I wasn't broke. I would have invested a lot in Johnson and Johnson.
Those are his advisors. His advisors are telling him to purchase Johnson and Johnson.
Oh boy.
Hey, let me say this before we get to. I remember during the George Bush time, he said that products, anything coming out of Africa, there was no tariffs, absolutely no tariffs. So that also helped a lot of these white mining companies go ahead and go through the United States to get the stuff shipped over here, and then to get it shipped to Europe and other places. Gold, all the minerals, and also something I think Ronin you said. When you're talking about the athletes and how much they could have taken care of everybody. I also remember a time I think a hockey team had won the championship, and they all went to the White House. But then it was several of them who came from these small towns, went back and boosted up the town. Go ahead, provided business, all kinds of stuff, good drinking water. It did a lot for that town. Now, I don't remember the time. It was like in West Virginia. And right now, that town's still on the map and still doing good. So when I go here and I look at a lot of black athletes and black entertainers, and I'm saying, you may not come from that town in the mountains, but you came from a fucked up ass hood in Chicago, and all you go ahead and doing is trying to use that as like sympathy points. Oh, I came from this area. What the fuck you do for this area? You can go ahead and just you sign a contract, a multi-million dollar contract, one fucking $100,000 of your money could damn near put 4 families into their own business. And how much of return you can get on that if you make that small investment? I don't understand it. I'm confused by the whole fucking thing.
They could just invest in nonprofits. I mean, my friend has a nonprofit.
I got a nonprofit. Yeah. And to be the president of a nonprofit and to go ahead and to be scrutinized and be shot down or just straight ignored, man, it's disturbing. It is. It's sometimes what's going on in your mind after I'm talking to this brother, and then I go ahead and I make my pitch to him. Then I see him again. He just basically walk away from me and ignore me. It's like, nigga, I want to go ahead and take this drink and smash it in your fucking face because we out here dying, we out here hurting, and you ignoring us, and you came from this area. You're a piece of shit.
That's how I feel.
I was like working out at the gym a few days ago, and I saw they were doing like some league, some NBA league in Africa. Is that true? Did I miss something?
Yeah.
So so if that's happening right now, who owns it?
Not sure, but that's been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, NBA's been in Africa for a minute.
Yeah, they've been there for a long time.
None of these Negroes said, "Yo, let's create a league and let's just like do like a feeder system." Because it's similar to like pro wrestling. Even though WWE is like the head honcho, they're like a global brand. There's some people who still have some kind of ownership where they just like can have a stake in that big brand and like can like siphon there's a way you can like do a pipeline and you send talent to the bigger brand, right? But there's still like some kind of business that you're conducting where you own the stake. Like, do any of these athletes like own any stake in like this African league that they got going?
I don't think so. I know they got a lot of former players who are part of it, you know, being instructors and stuff like that. I think I think Lowell Ding might be a part of that. I gotta look it up. I saw an article maybe about a month ago about that, about it being Africa. I think they just use it for a pipeline to get players to come over here, end up going to some of these schools, do 1
Yeah.
year at like a Kentucky.
It is the pipeline. They got scouts over there as we speak. And also not just the NBA. They also go here and look for individuals who play football, baseball,
No.
TV. And this is coming from the top office. And right now, as we speak, you got a lot of scouts in Japan, throughout Latin America, in Mexico, and a lot of places. They're there. They're right there, and they go ahead and trying to bring people over. And, me shut up.
Yeah, I've noticed that if you know, because I play football, if you look now, like there's a lot of players who their parents who are coming into the NFL where, you know, they have like traditional African last names. You know, their parents came here from Nigeria or Cameroon or stuff like that. Yep. And now they got dudes who are getting drafted who are going to these big schools and now they're playing in the NFL. A lot. I mean, way more than when I was playing back in the 90s, even in the early 2000s. So, just like with Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball, I mean, shit, they just raided Latin America, specifically Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, a whole bunch of players over there. Then same thing, you know, with Japan, Taiwan, Korea, South Korea. But, you know, I don't think. I think there's some short-sightedness especially with black athletes and entertainers and stuff like that.
I think it's
They're locked
beyond
into the model
short.
of doing it here. You know,
I think
just
it's
being a part of
beyond
it.
short-sightedness. It's like they don't have a fundamental understanding of what power and land and infrastructure and nationhood is. They just don't get it. And I can't really blame them because where are they going to learn it from? Who's teaching it?
Right.
They don't understand.
I'm of the mind right now, since they love giving their money to failing business ventures, scams, and IG models, we might as well just like try to create something of our own and try to have them funnel the money to us, right?
You know,
just contract some IG models, have them start up, do some ad campaign for One United.
Or we can buy some baby oil.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You know what, brother? I really feel that's possible. We have to put together a plan to reach out. That's what we need. We need to reach out.
Let's reach out to Johnson & Johnson, get some baby oil.
Yeah,
and sell that out the back of a truck.
Yeah, I'm with it.
It's very slippery.
Slippery.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
It's really embarrassing, man. It's really embarrassing. This lady raised $700,000. $700,000. They had to turn off the comments because all of the Klan members and racists were like, "Yeah, fuck that nigga. Yeah, here's my money."
Remember that story that Carl told us about, like that person who did the investments, and they managed to raise at least 6 figures within like a month, and we could barely raise 6 figures. Anything past like 4 figures for the school.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit is disheartening, man.
Yeah. All we need, I said it before, all we need is 20 people giving $15 a week, and the schools will be fully funded every time we have a session. Fully funded. That's 20 people in the diaspora on the continent, anywhere on the planet, 20 black folks is all we need. And we can't even get that. So, like somebody said earlier, I think it was you, Mike, there is no limit.
Yeah.
We are no limit soldiers. The amount of humiliation that we will suffer from the hands of white folks is endless. Like we don't put the game on cheat. Our character can die an unlimited amount of times and we'll still be playing the game.
Yep.
You know, here's something. You know, I served the U.S. military, but I have to 100% disagree with a lot of fuckers going here and tell me, "Oh, you part of being baby killer and all that other shit." I served. So why don't you direct those same fucking comments to those fucking white nationalists, all these motherfuckers? They go ahead and they get that training and come back and they go ahead and train other motherfuckers to kill people in America, including your black ass. Yeah, what a dummy.
They don't understand. There's so many things. Like, man, oh my God, man. So, like, I remember for years, man. You know, I had dudes tell me like, why are you studying martial arts and all this shit like that? And I would tell them that I know, you know how many black folks I know who love Bruce Lee, but yet they never even thought about like taking some type of form of martial art. Because I've been doing martial arts for a long time. I've been doing martial arts for almost 20 goddamn years, man. I can literally count on one hand every school I was enrolled in, how many black folks were there. I studied JKD. I studied that shit. I studied that shit for almost 8 years, man. The only black folks that was in that class, everyone in there was actually either what 40, 50 years old, 60 years old. No young people. None. I took JK. I learned JKD. I learned Schema. That's with the sticks. I took Northern Shaolin Kung Fu.
Hey, wait a
boxing,
minute. Wait,
all these different things.
You said there are people in there 60 years old. Maybe it took that long for them to stop taking them ass whooping so they can start defending themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a point. You got a point. And then dudes were coming there, I remember one guy in particular, he came in there and talking some crazy shit. And then I was like, look, man, I don't think you understand what you about to get into. You need to be more respectful for what's going on here, stuff like that. And then after the class, I was talking to him, and he didn't come back. He told me straight, he was like, "That's just too hard." It ain't hard, man. It's like if you ain't gonna put the work. See, it goes back to a larger scale. You're not willing to put in the work. That's the key.
Chef, you trying to say the 60 was their limit? That was the limit to the amount of ass whoopings that they was willing to take?
Yeah, just maybe. It's like, hey, you put your hands up and your fucking head keep going back, man. Wait a minute, I can't keep taking this. For 60 years, you motherfucker? Stupid ass.
They willing to put in the work, man. Just not.
Yeah, usually you take martial arts because you're tired of getting your ass whooped.
Right. But it took him 60 years to wake up.
So I guess we're not ready yet. We're not ready to cease for the ass whoopings to cease.
You need to add more onto your skill set. You know, my uncle, he served in the military. He was an Army Ranger. He was in the Vietnam War. I remember when my parents separated, my uncle, he took me on his way, and my uncle is a scary individual. I mean, he's like a junior version of a Punisher. I mean, my uncle is just outright scary, yo. I mean, but the first thing he told us, he was like, "It's my job to make sure that you're able to survive. Period." He's like, "If you live in here in this country, you need to learn how to survive." I mean, he would take us out to like forests and stuff like that, the woods, and we had a tarp. We had to make a tent out of a tarp. He gave us a fishing line and some hooks. We had to go dig up our own bait to learn, go fishing, teaching us how to track animals, taught us how to shoot and all kinds of stuff like that. And I remember a girl I used to date at the time, she was like, "Oh, that's child abuse." I'm like, "Nah, that's what my uncle taught me how to survive."
That's what these
I
white
mean,
boys do to their kids. That's what these white boys
hell
do to their
yeah.
kids. Yeah. Yeah.
You like, that's child abuse. My uncle taught me a ton of things, a ton of stuff. My uncle was so, he had, I mean, I remember times my uncle literally would, me and my cousins would be out playing or whatever. He comes down and says, all right, we can go for a ride. And this shit is crazy. I thought it was crazy, but he would take us and put us in a car and put a blindfold on us. And then he was like, we're going to a specific location. I want you to count it off. So we lived in Plainfield. So even though I don't live in Plainfield anymore, I know the street I used to live on. I know how long it takes for me to get from the house I used to live in to get to the end of the block to the park to this day. So from it's 35 seconds from the park, turning into the park to Park Avenue to get from there to that takes a minute, 1 minute, 2 seconds. I learned all of this, and I learned it made me better with directions as far as like, all right, and I never understood that. He was like, you should always be aware of your surroundings, how long it takes
There
to
you
get this
go.
place,
I
this
was
place, this
hoping you
place.
point that out, brother, because one thing he was also teaching you is when you go from here to the corner, you make sure you pay attention. You count your steps, but you make sure you pay attention because on the way back, if some shit different, you might get fucked up.
Bingo. And I thought it, and like I said, there was a woman I used to be, she was like, that's child abuse. Your uncle was just child abuse. I'm like, I don't think so.
No,
No.
child abuse is what we doing now to our children, letting them be here with not teaching them anything about what power is, how to control their environment and their destiny. We're not teaching them that. That's child abuse.
No, brother. Some people teaching their kids what power is that you don't have it, and you got to serve the powerful. What do you think about that?
I mean,
You
that's
got to be
all they
still to the
can
Twilight
do.
Zone to serve man. That's what it is, man. It's there, man. I've met a few people who are Jabari's age, and I've been talking to them, and they're like, "Why are you so frustrated?" I was like, I know a young man who's the same age as you, and he literally could drive. He could run circles around you and not even stand up. I was like, you should be ashamed of yourself. But you don't know shit. I was like, do you? I was like, and he was like, why are you being harsh? I'm like, I'm being honest, man. I was like, I'm being honest. I was like, you don't know anything. If it's not related to some type of hip hop, some fake hip hop bullshit or some entertainment bullshit, you have no idea what the hell is going on. And I find it, I was like, and especially I'm talking to people who's like Jabari's age. So I say a lot of time, I'm like, look, you got a long way to go. A long way to go.
Hmm.
It's sad. You're more interested in silly shit. You know, I mean, don't know anything. No, not. I mean, they them. I actually know people who are our age and don't know shit. Talking silly shit. They're worried about or some type of stupid conspiracy theory. Like, oh, I'm like, I ain't no goddamn conspiracy theorist. Like, why? I'm like, if it's happening in real time, it's not a conspiracy. It's called reality. I ain't time to deal with that bullshit. It ain't a conspiracy. If you know it, it's not a conspiracy. How do you know it? If you know it, I know it. I'm not. I'm not dialed into some um um government intelligence platform. How the hell do you know about it? So it's not a conspiracy. You know about it, so that's not a conspiracy. So it's sad. And even that, I talked to a few people about it. They like, oh, I didn't know that about Liberia. I'm like, well, maybe you should learn. Maybe you should open up a goddamn book. Just one, two, three, four. Just do something.
You can't get them
There's
into
no,
books.
there's
Everything
no
has to come
reference.
through. Everything has to come through their phone. You don't look at books no more, and they look at stuff on their phone, get sidetracked, and they're going ahead and telling you about the Diddy case.
Yeah, there's no reference that they can draw from. Like in the 90s when we was going to the slave, man, we had so many references we can draw from of people who was telling us real information. you know, people that was into problem solving. If you were learning about your history, it wasn't some feel good shit. It was practical knowledge. Now, I mean, who you gonna look to tell you anything if you're a young person? Steve Harvey?
Ha! Whatever happened to Steve Harvey's mentor program?
What is he gonna mentor them about?
He was doing that for a minute. He was that's distracting. He was doing that for a minute, and he was like teaching them, you know, putting on how to dress and this and that, a bunch of stupid ass shit. And they was promoting and putting. I don't hear no more about that program.
How to buck dance.
Yeah, you know, trying to get a lot of young black men to come on in and bringing them out to these different, look like plantations, in my opinion. Bringing them out there and showing them shit, man. It's a bunch of bullshit. He was always there for a photo op.
Yeah, who else? Who else are they going to learn from?
Oh damn, man! All I can do is laugh and shit. If I don't laugh, I end up throwing something in my TV.
We don't have a fundamental understanding of reality just in general. We're so woefully behind, and just the way that we even view money is warped.
Who?
Like if any of us, these people got money, what they would do is have tanks of gas around their neck like gold chains. Look at all this money. Look at all this money I got, niggas. Instead of putting it in the goddamn car.
Mm-hmm. Hey, brother, let me give you one better. It's a lot of our people go here and buy property, don't realize the difference between rich and wealth. Rich can go ahead and evaporate right away, but wealth can last a lot longer. Why is it that too many of our people go ahead and get a house, or somehow they obtain a house? And in my case, my grandparents left me their house. I'm not selling that motherfucker. So with individuals right away, like, oh, get rid of it, go ahead and sell it. See how much it's worth, so and so and so and so. Like, dude, leave that alone. You can draw down on that. You can do all kinds of stuff. Use that as collateral, do some other stuff. But you had that place. And worst come to worst, if you got a place, if you got this house that someone left you, like in my case, and you living somewhere else, rent the fuck out. That's still more income. You don't know that we don't know the difference between rich and wealth.
Yo, I have some advice for people. Stay away from heirs property.
Who?
I think that's heirs property. I think that's a trick that white folks play because they know black folks ain't never gonna get together and do shit, and it'll eventually end up going back to them. So if you have land, leave it to the responsible person in your family, the person that you think is the most responsible. Don't put it in that heirs property bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
That's my advice.
Yeah, all of it's a trick, brother.
Yeah.
Sharecropping was a trick.
Yeah. But you know what? The silver lining in the cloud for us, and when I say us, I mean BAIO and Save the State people, is we're already working on the solution. We work on it every day. And whether you want to get down with the program or whether you don't, it's still happening. So
I got a question.
Yeah.
Something else, but it's for Jabbar. Jabbar, I heard this on. I almost drove my car off the road when I heard this shit. So I was listening to Urban View Wednesday when I was coming home from work. So they were talking about the whole thing about, shipping immigrants to here, stuff like that. And then the host, I forgot, it was either Clay King, Karen Hunter, that they're shipping. I didn't hear anything about this. This is what they said. It's like, they're shipping people to Somalia, Cameroon, Liberia, shit like that. I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck are you talking about? I never heard any of that. But I heard it, and I was like, I got to find out. I was like, I don't think that shit is true at
You mean
all.
deporting people?
Deporting people to The countries that she said was Somalia, Cameroon, and Liberia.
Well, they have sent some people to the South Sudan.
All right.
I don't know about those other spots, but the South Sudan is.
Those other spots are on the list, though. I know that.
Yeah, they. I wouldn't doubt it.
No, because I just wanted to make sure. I haven't heard anything about that because I almost, like I said, I almost drove my car off the goddamn road.
Yeah,
I'm
that I
like,
can confirm. Those countries are on the list.
Wow. Okay, I'll take my ticket. Take me back to Liberia. I can go. Give me my ticket. My money ain't gonna stop. I'll see y'all.
If I'm being deported, I want first class.
Same here.
I'm with you.
Same
But
here.
you know, just hopefully you'll get them bracelets in first class.
Hey. As long as I got that Moscato, I don't mind.
How you gonna be able to drink Moscato with them braces on?
Well, we'll find a way. Well, I'll charm.
You can't
I'll
have me in
charm the
first
stewardess
class with
to feed me.
bracelets.
Yeah.
You can't have me with the bracelets on in first class. That ain't gonna work. I need to be able to drink.
Yeah.
How am I gonna eat a shrimp cocktail in bracelets?
Yeah.
Okay.
Detain me at the Trump Hotel. How about that?
You know what? For me, it's like as long as I'm on the plane. Okay, you gave me the bracelet. I'm sitting here. You got to feed me. As long as that stewardess, whatever that. As long as she's topless, we good. We on to something. You can throw them damn shrimp in my mouth.
And just make sure that I'm on an Airbus and not a Boeing. That's all I need.
Yeah. We want to make sure we're actually deported. You know, we don't want half measures.
Boeing Cut Corners Company.
Oh, you heard that he found. I think like he signed some law or made some kind of agreement where like they're not gonna be prosecuted.
Who?
Of course.
Both.
Of course. America is the only country where you can kill 300 people and
Hey, well.
Get a stern talking to.
Barack Obama did that. He did the same shit to like Monsanto and all them other companies. They're not allowed to be prosecuted.
The best story that I've heard so far was the HSBC story from a few years back, where they were literally caught money laundering from Mexican cartel and Al Qaeda, and all they did was pay a fine, and I can imagine who actually paid the fine. It probably wasn't HSBC. It was the people they was money laundering for. They like, that's the price of doing business, fellas. They find us, you gotta pay that if you want this to continue. And they paid it, and it's nobody went to jail. Nobody went to jail.
They talk about the opioid crisis, but the Sackler families are living high off the hog right now.
Yeah.
You know what?
Whenever we white people do something, it's an intellectual discussion and conversation about, oh, that was wrong. Why are we doing things this wrong? Oh God, I don't understand. When black folks do something wrong, it's prison time. There's no intellectual conversation about, oh, let's muse and opine about how this was a crime. No, it's jail time, sentencing.
And another thing to add to what you're saying is saying, oh, let's let all the information come out. Let's see if we got some take. Let's see where the evidence takes us.
All right, I know you're probably sick of me saying this, but when it comes to power, black folks are not a monolith. We don't all think the same. But when it comes to putting foot in our ass, everybody can identify exactly who a black person is. Isn't that interesting?
Mm.
It's not ambiguous anymore.
Mm.
Now we know. But whenever we flip it and start talking about power and control, now, I mean, who is we? What is black? Do we really know what black is?
You ain't black.
I swear, man, I'm allergic to bullshit.
You're not black. I can look at you and tell you're a Native American.
The only thing we can agree on that black is when it comes to oppression. Then we know what black is. No confusion.
No. You ain't
But
black.
that white lady did not have a problem identifying what a nigga was. There was no confusion. He was right to the point. So when are we gonna start playing these games, man? It's like, I guess the answer is never. It's endless.
What I want to know, man, if with that white woman, I really would like to go ahead and see some more comments from black folks who saying, hey, she was okay. You know what I mean?
Oh, who's offending her?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen them. I've seen like the usual suspects.
Oh.
You know, the people who wear a white hand patting their head is like crack. Start having withdrawal syndromes if they can't get a white person co-signing and clapping them on the head, going, "Oh man, you a good boy."
Yeah, they start breathing heavy
nigga.
with their tongue wagging.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Only
don't be surprised.
Instead of saying, you know, my nigga, they like, "I'ma bust you, sissy." Master.
You know what? With it, and you see their tail wagging, their ass just moving so much, and you can just see all their damn teeth. Like, damn, I didn't know you had that many teeth in your fucking mouth. Just cheese and
yeah. I've seen sharks with less teeth than you got.
Right. Yeah. Get away from me, man.
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if she gets invited to the cookout.
She's gonna be at the White House soon. What?
Yeah, the cookout that I don't want to be at.
Yeah, gonna be at the White House too. This poor victim. Oh man, I'm gonna ask you. What do y'all think about those poor white South Africans they brought to America who were suffering from oppression and genocide? What do you think about that?
I think that black racism is a good thing. I encourage it. I've often, like, people run away from that. They're like, "Oh, there's black racism in Zimbabwe." I'm like, wow, thank you. I've been waiting for us to be in a position of power where we can actually be racist. I've been looking forward to that.
Throw their asses out.
So if there's some white people that's suffering from black racism, hallelujah. We made it, y'all. You should be proud of ourselves. You actually made it. You gained enough power to actually discriminate. Congratulations.
Mm-mm.
That's how I feel about it.
You're racist.
I'm comfortable with that.
Too many of you Negro racists out here. I may have to go to Europe.
If black people are racist, we're the worst racists on the face of the earth. We really stuck at racism.
Yeah, straight up incompetent.
Yeah, I mean, we getting D's and F's in that class.
Yeah.
You don't even know how to do racism right.
Yeah. Remedial racist.
So what are you saying? We bad students?
Yep.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, we gotta get a special helmet.
Racism properly. The white man is like shaking his head, like, "God damn, didn't I teach y'all better than this?" That's the problem. Anyway, y'all, let me get off of here. I'm gonna get me something to eat.
Oh, I was trying to give you some of this, brother, but hey, No.
Wait, that's the reason why I'm getting something to eat. I'm looking at you chomping over there. Like, let me put some food in my stomach.
Yeah, man. Ooh.
But it's always a pleasure talking to you, gentlemen. Is anybody going to be on the lounge tonight? Because I will be there.
I'll try. And I got dessert. I got these great cookies.
Uh-oh.
I'll try to jump on because I don't have to go to work tomorrow. So
Oh, damn. Tomorrow's Memorial Day too.
Oh yeah, I'm getting some holiday pay. Thank you. Didn't realize.
This is one of the rare weekends where I'm actually home by myself. My wife is down in Florida visiting her father, and my son is with his dad in
Cool.
Maryland. So it's just me and my dog.
What time
Chilling.
you have to be at work?
Cool. Me?
Yeah.
I have to work. I'm off.
Oh, you're off. Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, I'm off. I'm home. I'm literally. This is like I've been by myself for the last since Friday,
That's
which is
cool.
rare because normally in my house, I told you before how usually like if my son was here, there'd be like 4 or 5 kids in my house eating up every goddamn thing in my refrigerator.
Drinking all the milk.
Yeah, no, not
Eating
that.
up
I
all the
mean,
hog mugs.
iced tea, Doritos, whatever we got, they're eating it up. Got my basement downstairs smelling like feet and underarms because they're all teenagers.
Hmm.
You know, I got to tell them like, look, you guys got to put on deodorant, like for real. Like,
Get some of that
what are you
Dr.
trying to say?
Sasquatch.
You know
Yeah, I'm
what?
like,
See, you get to that point, be like, man, all y'all line up in this yard, and you get the strongest fucking holes and start wetting them up. Man, take this stuff. Then you come to my house. That's you be feeling that way.
On the ass.
yeah, my house is the neighborhood house, so you know,
Mm.
I'm like, yo, you guys, your feet stink. Like, put your shoe, do something. Just,
I'm hoping the
I
weather
gotta.
gets nicer so you can kind of set up your tent.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to get my yard straight, man. Like, you know, because I'm
Yeah.
not good at gardening and stuff like that. Like, I'm trying to do all these different things, man. I got moss growing. I just, I had to kill that shit in my backyard. My wife is out. Like, I cooked some shit on the grill yesterday, and I'm like, it was like fucking sick, like 59 degrees, and it was windy as shit. I'm like, God damn.
Hey, brother, if you start messing around in your yard, make sure you look up the plants that's in your yard. Because some of them is actually edible. Some of them are still medicine. We can't just go ahead and stuff we don't recognize, go ahead and say, oh, that's garbage. Check out what you're throwing away. You know, you know there's dandelion soup and dandelion salads. So make sure you pay
Yeah,
attention to what you're throwing away because it
They
could be something real valuable.
actually have an app where you can take a picture of the plant and it'll tell you what it is.
Right. Yeah.
yeah. We are surprisingly, I don't have any dandelions in my front yard or my backyard. I got just clover, some moss, and that's pretty much it. That's basically that. And some crabgrass. That's about it. No damn.
There's
Now
some,
my neighbor across the street, his whole yard is filled with goddamn dandelions.
there's some stuff that look like clovers that actually it tastes and smells because you put it in your hand, you rub it together. Tastes and smell like green apples. Okay. It's also a food enhancer. You know, it's some restaurants I worked in, man. I was like, man, where you get this from? They never, nobody knew. And then like one day I stepped in my yard and I said, this is the same shit I was working with the restaurant. I got it. It's actually pretty good. But that's why I said you got to look at all them plants and stuff in your yard because some of the stuff you can use.
Cool.
All right, I'll check it out.
All right, y'all.
All right.
I'm out of here.
All right,
Peace,
peace.
brothers. It's been great. Thank you for having me.
Good talking to y'all.